They are the European champions and they did it in style. Let's head down to Trafalgar Square here in London and join my talkSPORT colleague Faye Carruthers. Faye, good morning to you. What's left of it? Describe the scene for us and who have you got for us?
Oh, it's absolutely incredible here, Jim. 7,000 fans queued up from early on this morning. They were let in around about 11. It was first come, first served, and they've been making such a racket since they arrived here in Trafalgar Square. We've had music pumping out, a couple of renditions of It's Coming Home as well. And when you think about the 17.2 million people who watched the game last night, however many listeners that we had on talkSPORT, of course, as well, streaming, everything else, that's really captured the imagination of the nation. And to go on and lift the trophy as they did last night, it's been absolutely incredible.
Good stuff, Faye. Now I'm watching you coming into the studio live. Who have you got beside you? Because I know that the good and the great are there. Simon and I have just been bemoaning the fact that Nigel Huddleston is there wearing as a sports minister, wearing what seems to be like a St George's flag type waistcoat. Simon, you didn't really approve of his turnout, did you?
No, I think he looked ridiculous.
Who have you got for us, Faye?
I have the London Mayor Sadiq Khan with me, who's wearing an It's Coming Home t-shirt instead. Sadiq, London knows how to put on a party, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The teacher says home. Mission accomplished by the Lionesses. Listen, we could have had tens of thousands of more people here today. The demand's been massive. We're to organise this obviously just in a few hours, but it's wonderful to see something bringing our country together. And what these Lionesses have done is amazing. It's record-breaking, history-making, game-changing. It's remarkable to see over the last few weeks the country coming together, whether it's the Bethmead Golden Boots, whether it's the Mary Arp saves, whether it's the Russo backhill, the Stanway scream. It's been a remarkable tournament.
Yeah, it really has, but actually it's very key that we capitalise on this moment. What needs to be done to make sure we grow participation, keep the visibility and the momentum going?
And that's the challenge. We must not squander this legacy. That means investing in school teachers, in primary schools, secondary schools. Girls should be able to do football in PE. We need to make sure teachers have the confidence to teach girls football and other sports as well. We've got to make sure we invest in grassroots sports for girls and women. We've got to make sure we invest in the clubs so women and girls can play sports in clubs. But also we've got to say to the Premier League clubs, you know, the Etihad Stadium, the Stamford Bridge, Spurs is a fantastic new stadium. That should be used for the women's game as well as the men's. Look, Wembley is the home for our men's team and also the women's team. We've got to make sure that we have gender equality in relation to not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
It's also got to be not about sound bites anymore, hasn't it? It's got to actually be about action.
Well, you saw that in this tournament, you see. What our Lionesses didn't do is just stand on their laurels. They delivered on the pitch in relation to that squad that Serena Wiegman's developed, making sure that everyone's part of that team. Positivity coming from the squad, and I think that spreads in relation to not just our country, but hopefully politicians too as well. Look, I saw last night 3 members of the cabinet there last night at the football. You know, it matters because hopefully this is infectious. You know, we saw the Olympics, some of that legacy squandered, if we're honest. We didn't see the development in grassroots sports. We didn't see those playing fields not being sold off. We in London now have got protection. You can't sell off playing fields to build housing. You can't build in open lands. We've got to make sure we get the support from the government and we get people pressure. We want not just women and girls, but parents, boys, men, putting pressure on those in power to make sure we don't squander this legacy.
Well, Serena Wiegman and her team will be arriving at around about 12:30. One debate that we've been having on talkSPORT, I'm coming live into the Simon Jordan and Jim White show right now, and they've just been talking about the taking of the knee and whether or not players, clubs, the Premier League in general, the FA should continue taking the knee. What's your view on it?
I think the manager's got to consult the players. Gareth Southgate last year consulted the squad. They wanted to take the knee, and Gareth supported the players in taking the knee. The reality is there is still racism across our society. There's still not, race equality in football. Our squad's fantastic, by the way, both the men's and the women's sport. Let's not forget their role models. When they speak, people listen. And so I think they've got a leadership role to play. And where they lead, others follow. And I'll make this point in the women's tournament. There's not been the boon of the national anthems. There's not been, hurling abuse at players. And hopefully that'll spread to the men's game as well.
What's your personal opinion on it, though?
I think they should take the knee when there's still issues around racism. Gareth Southgate's leadership's been remarkable. He's given confidence to the likes of Sterling, Rashford and the others. Harry Kane as our skipper has shown leadership there. And in the women's game, you've seen Leah Williamson showing leadership. You've seen the support from the other players as well. I think it matters. You look around the stadium, there's been older, younger people, men and women, black, white, people of colour, Also, you've seen, in relation to people's sexual orientation, the women's players having real confidence in relation to, saying they're gay or whatever that may be. And that's really important.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.